So we are on air. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning.
Hello.
Hey.
Hey.
So welcome back to our show, a show about nothing. And I'm Elizabeth.
And I'm Maricel, and it's a show about everything.
And this morning we have a special guest, but the funniest thing happened. Marilyn, who's our guest today, shows up with red lipstick. And of course, we all had to go get our red lipstick. Put it on.
Put it on.
Because we're flaming Latinas.
Hey, it's the best way to do it. It's Sunday morning. Why not? Get the day started.
Right? Why not look pretty?
Yeah. A little sassy. Add a little sass to your day.
Yeah. So let me share a little bit about Marilyn, because I want to talk to Marilyn. I'm so excited. And I can't thank you enough for being, again, here in our show. But Marilyn Camacho is a Puerto Rican actress, otra boricua in the house. She's a producer and a writer from the south side of Chicago, who now lives in Los Angeles. Some of her recent television credits include Animal Kingdom, American Gods, Scandal, which I loved, The Fosters, and my favorite show, Chicago Fire. We gotta talk about those men on that show.
Where are they? Are they single? Can you give us some detail after the Zoom?
Yeah, right? Yeah, she's on a looking for a man right now. But when not in front of the camera, she's developing content as the founder and president of Caribena Creatives, which I really want to talk about. A boutique multicultural production studio of women creatives dedicated to amplifying is the key word here, create Caribbean voices. So welcome to our show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, so tell us a little bit of how you got your career started here in Chicago.
Oh my God. It started with, I was out of college, Columbia, and I think I studied theater, acting and directing, and I think I was looking for a place, a home, a theater company to be able to belong to and to start getting, putting my chops to work, right? And, after auditioning, and I ended up getting involved with Teatro Luna. That was my first theater show. Like, that was the first company I worked with in Chicago. And from there, I met some people and got introduced to Ivan in Madrid. And next thing you know, it was like a crew of us, and we're all Puerto Rican, either Puerto Rican, Dominican, Cuban. Like, it was just it was just like a melting pot of all Caribbean artists. Like, it was like, him, she knows you, like, we just all started hanging out, and, before you know it, I've seen that there was a void, there was a void in the theater community in Chicago that didn't really have anybody that was dedicating the work to Caribbean artists, or just, anybody from the diaspora. So that's kind of how it started. So we started the company, and I'm blessed. We're so blessed to be able to say that we just turned 15 years this year. Yeah. And, now it's run by Ivan Vega, Miranda Gonzalez. She's the artistic director. Ivan's the executive director. And also Tony Bruno, he's the managing director there. And I'm here, I call in, I'm still part of the ensemble. I still try to make connections with people out here in Chicago, but I dedicated over like 10 years of my life to building up that company, and yeah, and working there. And of course, we got to work at the Goodman, Steppenwolf, Victory Gardens, a lot of other theater companies within the city. And I think it was when I booked Chicago Fire in Chicago. Yeah, I think it was Chicago Fire that I was like, okay, I think it's time for me to move.
You wanted to move after Chicago Fire?
Yeah, you know what? It was a thing too where I was so tired of the cold. I went to Puerto Rico. I went to Puerto Rico like maybe the year before, and I was like, I hadn't been to Puerto Rico in like 10 years. And I was like, my God, I love this weather. It's just so beautiful. I went back to Chicago, and I think that was the year that we had one of the coldest winters. And man, I was so depressed for like probably like 4 or 5 months. And I started just saying, you know what, let me take a trip out to LA, come out to this, there was like this producer convention that they have out here every year with Nali. And I decided to come out and just, see who I could meet. I did. And I went back home and I told mommy, papi,
That's it. You're done.
I was like, I'm done. Okay, I'm tired of the cold. I don't need to deal with this anymore. Like, why am I still here? You know, I'm like, and at the end of the day, I really wanted to transfer more into TV and film. So I did. I decided to just take the leap. I packed up my bags and drove out to LA. And here
Wow.
So one question that I do have for you, once you moved to LA, so you started your own tribe down there. And how long have you been there?
I just made 5 years here.
Nice.
So you got your own tribe, because you know what, as you're speaking and I'm looking at you, you resemble a lot of Sandra Delgado. Do you guys have any communications from people?
Yeah, you know, I know Sandra. I work with Sandra. I was in Mojada. I understudied in Mojada. We got to work together in that production. But I've known Sandra for years from just the community. I pretty much know everybody, most of everybody in the theater community in Chicago, because it's kind of tight knit. Everybody does know everybody.
Yeah.
So
That's true.
Yeah, but I do know her and I know her work, and I think she's a fantastic artist, and you know, she's been at it for a long time.
I think also that Tanya Saracho did the transition from Chicago to LA. So you would say, if you want to start writing and producing, start off here in Chicago so you could get your feet wet, but blossom in LA.
Take off to LA.
Well, you know, yeah, it's crazy because like my last 2 years before I decided to move out here, I was already writing and producing. I had, you know, small little fun fact. I used to rap. I used to be a rapper as well. I was very involved in the community in Chicago. Yeah, I used to go by the rap name Rubio. And I did like a lot of shows. I actually started doing a web series. I produced, wrote, started my own web series and started getting my hands wet, just working production, just doing my own stuff there. So I did that for like 2 years before I came out here, and I had already started writing. So when I got here, it was just more so learning the structure and kind of refining my pen, you know, my pen game. So, so yeah, just being out here, it's been an incredible experience. You know, I've gotten to work and I've met some incredible people, and it's been a blessing. So.
That's great.
Yeah.
I love Ivan and Miranda. I met them both years ago. Started seeing the shows at Division, you know, in the Urban Theater. Very talented people, very humble. And I follow them both on Facebook, so I always see what they're doing. But I was so excited to be connected with them. And I think it was probably Caesar too who connected. No, I take that back. It was actually Tamika, because there was a show there, a play that they put on.
Yeah.
And I'm like blown away, you know, about the talent and the art here in Chicago, and saddened too by the lack of support that they get all the way around, right? We should be supporting them a little bit more. Yeah. And hopefully that'll change in the near future. And so you were a rapper.
I was.
Some freestyle.
A woman of many talents, which I love.
Yeah, I was a rapper. I grew up around the culture. You know, my brothers and my uncles, they were all b-boys, graffiti artists. You know, when because I grew up half my life in Pilsen. We used to live in Pilsen. We used to live across this park over there called Harrison Park.
Yes.
Yeah, we used to live right across the street, and like I swear, it was like growing up as a kid. Every day there was always breakdancing battles in front of our house. You know what I mean? Like my brothers and their crews. So I just grew up very influenced by a lot of different music, just because I also come from a big family, and hip hop was just something that naturally I just kind of evolved into. It started off with poetry in high school. By like my senior year, I was already starting to rap, and then when I went off to college, I was part of like a hip hop crew there. And when I got back to the city, I was doing it, you know. And then I think probably like, I want to say maybe about after a couple of years with UTC, with Urban, I decided to like take a break and actually put out an EP and just really go hard with it and start performing all around the city and building up a following. And that's kind of what I did right before I came out here. So yeah, it was fun.
Yeah. Well, I grew up in Little Village.
I'm sorry?
I grew up in Little Village.
Oh, really?
On the 20th, 26th Street. So it was interesting, right, that it was heavily Mexican, but then we had Strong, I want to say a strong presence of Puerto Ricans there too.
No, honestly, like I tell people all the time, people don't know that Pilsen was actually inhabited by Puerto Ricans.
Was it really?
Yes, like my uncles, all of my uncles, my aunts, even my mom and my dad, when they came over in the 70s, like they all lived in Pilsen. It was Pilsen Little Village. Yeah, you know, and I went to Salcedo for my grammar school.
Yes.
And my aunt and my uncles, they went there when it used to be a high school. And they showed me their yearbooks from like back then. And I'm telling you, girl, there was too many froze. Okay. I said, look at all these brown faces and all these froze. Okay. Like, what is going on here? And you know, they were like, no, they're like, we used to be heavy out here. There's a lot of Puerto Ricans that used to actually inhabit Pilsen. And so this day, my uncles still live in the same building that I grew up in. They own the building, they never moved. So it's two brothers that live there. And it's so funny because in each neighborhood, even growing up, like, of course, we had some of our friends and neighbors that were Puerto Rican. They ended up moving to the north side, you know, some of my cousins. But my parents were like, no, they stood put, you know, but everybody always knew our family. Like, oh, those are the Camachos, the Puerto Ricans.
Right, that's how they would identify us. Because we weren't that many on the same block, but we were there. And
yeah, but we were
people
there.
knew who we were. That's so exciting.
I can relate. I grew up in Homo Park. I live in Homo Park. So Pilsen for me was like, if you wanted the best tacos, that's where I was.
Okay.
But that's about it. I didn't know no families, nothing on the south side. But yeah, they had the amazing food.
Well, I'm going to take you one day, Marisa, to La Villita. I'm going to show you where I grew up at.
Okay.
I remember the address, 2448 South Lawndale. Nunca se me olvidó.
Wow.
I still remember the area and the people. The people were warm and, you know.
I went over there. Even before I moved out to LA, I was living in Pilsen. I went back, I got my own apartment and I went back over there and I just, you know, I loved it. I lived right off of 16th and Miller, right by Simone's, like right around the corner from Simone's. You know, of course, the neighborhood has changed so much.
Yes. One of the hottest spots where everybody wants to move now and own a business. And the art there is amazing. Every block you walk down, there is some form of art on the wall, on something, on a building, on the viaduct. It's really, really awesome. I really enjoy it. I really, really enjoy. So tell us a little bit about Creative Caribena.
Caribena Creatives. So it's so funny. I started it. It happened right before quarantine. Right before quarantine. You know, I have to say, you know, speaking of tribe, you know, being in LA, you know, I don't know if you all have visited out here ever, but it's just the layout of the city, the way that it is here, it's just not the same as like Chicago or New York, where everything is a little bit more tight together. You know, people take the train all the time and it's like, no, like this is very much like a car city. Like you got to drive everywhere here, you know? And because of also, I feel like the way that it's geographically like laid out, sometimes it's a little bit isolating. And when I came out here and just getting into the industry and getting to know people, I was like, man, where are all the Puerto Ricans and like the Caribeños and like where's everybody, like where's the Dominican community, where's the, you know, like I don't know, like it doesn't really exist here like that, you know. So I always felt like there was a disconnect. That was always something that was missing for me because, you know, working in Humboldt Park for so many years, I was in Humboldt Park almost every day working. I was always around my people, you know, like eating the food and just hanging out. And, you know, like I was so used to that for so many years that I was like, damn, I'm like, I really miss that. I really miss having a sense of community. And yes, I do know, you know, several different, you know, Puerto Rican and Dominican and Cuban actresses out here, but there's no organizations that kind of cater to our community out here, you know, within the TV and the film industry. So on a whim, one day, I had been telling one of my close mentors about it, and she's Puerto Rican, and I had been telling her, I was like, girl, I'm going to start something. I want to do like, I don't know, you know, I'm like, we got to figure something out. She's like, wow, you know, I got you. I'll support you. I'll put the word out. And I had went to this panel for a Latino organization out here. They had put on a panel right before quarantine. Maybe I want to say about a couple weeks right before we went into quarantine. And I went by myself because I was like, this is going to be an interesting panel, you know. And I just went to go check it out. And afterwards, I ran into two of my Caribena actress friends out here, you know, and I hadn't seen them in months, you know. And that's how it is out here. You just go long periods of time without seeing, everybody's kind of caught up in their whole world out here. And she's like, man, we got to get together. I was like, yeah, we do. And at that time, I would sometimes host dinners at my house. I love to cook, okay? And so I would invite my friends over every once in a while, and I would just have a big dinner here. And like, that's just something I like to do occasionally, you know? So I thought to myself, well, maybe I'll have a dinner. And then I remembered that actually, funny thing, I had referred Caesar to a woman out here because he was looking for an event space. And the woman out here that she's an African-American woman. She has this beautiful space called My Creative Space that she had opened up for artists to do events, to do podcasting, anything, right? And so filming. So I had referred Caesar to her. She called me up, she sent me a message, and she's just like, thank you so much for the referral. You know, just so you know, because of that, I'm really grateful. And, you know, I'll give you a couple of hours free at my space whenever you need it. You know, and I was like, oh, that was really nice of you. I was like, connection. And then, so it just dawned on me. I says, you know what, let me call her up and see if I could book it out for like 2 or 3 hours. And then let me just put a text out. So girl, I opened up my WhatsApp. I sent out a text message to like 15 Caribeñas that were on my phone that I know are actresses, producers, directors. I just sent the message out. Say, hey girls, I think we should get together. Let's have like a potluck or something. I'm like, I would love to see all of us in one room. Are you guys down? You know? And everybody was like, oh my God, Marilyn, yes, of course, girl, count us in, let us know, right? I put together a flyer and everything, blasted it out there. And I told everybody, make sure you RSVP. Girl, the day of, I had 4 RSVPs, okay? And I was like, yo, Neil, this is gonna be a bust because I don't even have 5 people that RSVP, right? And so I'm like, oh my God, I'm like a mess that day. I'm over there at the space, making sure everything's nice set up. I have a sign-in sheet, we had the kitchen set up, like it was great. And I'm paranoid, like, man, these girls better show up. I'm hoping that they're on Latino people's time and they're just decided that they're gonna show up. And we had over 22 women showed up.
Amazing.
And it was amazing. I mean, everybody brought a dish, we broke bread, we sat down, we talked. And it was so crazy to me because there was a couple of Caribena older women that have been working in this industry here in Hollywood for, I want to say 20 plus years. And even they called me, texted me afterwards, and they said, Marilyn, we've never had that out here.
What a gift.
Had events, we've never had a space where we've all been able to connect. And it was just all different Caribeñas from everywhere, you know, that came up and showed up. And I said to myself, okay, there's a need here. There's a need for this. So I managed to stay in contact with the girls. Quarantine happened. And I was in the middle of planning our next event. Quarantine happened. I said, oh my God, I got to keep this afloat throughout quarantine and figure this out. And I did. I've managed to keep it afloat. You know, we do readings now every week of people's work within the group that are writers. We have roundtable discussions that we're fully producing now. We started our website. I have that in the works right now. Our tribe right now, I want to say we're about 28 strong. And it's just it's an amazing, talented group of women. I mean, I have editors, I have directors, I have actresses, I have publicists, you know, producers, executives, you know, within the tribe. And we're looking to continue to expand, you know. So now now I've also noticed that we have a void here in Hollywood of having our stories told.
That's great.
That's always been a really big issue, you know, out here. I think not just for myself, but for the lot of us that are part of the company. And I'm sure for a lot of other Caribena actors that are out there, Hollywood just seems to think of us as one thing, you know, when they look at you know, it's like, and out here we know that of course the Mexican culture is the most dominant Latino culture out here. And I love the Mexican culture. You know, I grew up around the Mexican culture, but Hollywood, for whatever reason, it's like this perception that we're all kind of the same, you know. And we need to start changing those perceptions and letting them know that there's a lot of different types of Latino cultures out there. And we are all different. We have different accents. We all look different. We come in different colors. We got different
Absolutely.
hair. You know,
Amen.
Everything. Yes. But I really do feel that if you want to see the change, you got to be the change. And therefore, I've dedicated myself to the company throughout this whole quarantine and just building us up, getting our internal projects going. And then also, you know, branching out connections with other people and other organizations. We have a really tight production team. There's 10 women on the actual executive production team. So it's really starting to shape up, and people are starting to take notice, which is really cool, you know. So I'm excited. I'm excited for what
all are welcome to come and join you and make that tribe even bigger. Even I'm so excited to hear that.
It's an exciting time. You know, we're our worst critics, right? We get overwhelmed and stressed out. You're like 4 people are asleep. But what do we know about Latinos? We either show up an hour late, right? Or we just show up.
I'm an exception to the rule. I'm never late.
She's never late. She is one of the most.
You sure about that?
Let me tell you.
Never late.
She's never late. I had an appointment one day and she offered to come with me. And I was like, nobody said you don't have to come. No, I want to be there. Okay, my appointment was I think 12:45. She was already out there by the location by 11:30.
Wow.
to be my support.
Yeah, you in there already? I was eating. I'm a big girl. I gotta eat.
Yes. And you know, I used to be one of those that arrived late all the time because I always felt like I shouldn't arrive on time. I thought it was like too early. But as I started hosting people in my home and people started showing up, like my family, an hour and a half late, I was like, this is so wrong. Why are they late? And then I learned to start being on time. And I hopefully won't ever arrive late anywhere else again, but I'm a little bit more considerate. But one thing about what happened with you is, you know, you put it out in the universe. And I learned through my mastermind coaching when I joined it that if you do an event or you create a meeting, only one person show up, that's you are making an impact on that one person. Because we want 100 or we want 25, right? And sometimes we need to start small.
Exactly.
Get big. But you had success from the bat. I mean, you had 22 people, which is pretty cool.
It popped up. I was like, really, y'all? And none of you guys saw it. And they're like, I'm muchacha. You know we were going to be here, girl. You knew we were going to be here. We had that RSVP. You know?
I remember, Elizabeth, there was this one time we didn't RSVP and we got there and the event was canceled. But
yes.
RSVP.
Wow.
See? But also go back to our parents when they used to cook. Siempre se cocina de más porque si llega alguien a la casa.
Exactly.
Right? Yep. Hopefully you cooked a little bit more. You had a little bit more setup for the unexpected.
Yeah, well, it was a potluck. So like I had some food there, but like all the girls brought something. They
nice.
Brought wine or they brought a dish, you know. So it was
That's awesome. I can't wait to go out there and visit you for your next meeting. After this whole COVID. We can do a recap of our Boricua Talks.
Yeah.
I am so grateful that you said yes to our little up and coming Boricua Talk show.
Yes.
Don't forget to subscribe.
No, of course. Of course.
Yeah. So what's next for you before we wrap up our show? Well, I was looking you up and I saw Do You See Me?
Oh, yes. Yes. Okay, so we just started that campaign. It's at
I love it.
Called Project Do You See Me? We got more videos dropping this week, so stay
tuned.
So this is a project that we put out there because, of course, everybody was talking about the Emmys and the supposed lack of Latino representation. There was Latinos that were nominated. They just weren't nominated in the major categories, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But again, at the core of what we do with the company, it's about action. So we believe that, you know, let's put it out there. Let's put it out there to the network executives and everybody that's out there that we are here, that you need to see us, that we exist.
Yes.
So we did a string of videos, all kind of focused on different things that we have experienced personally within the industry. And we did a call to action for other artists to submit a 30-second video. We started another page called Project Do You See Me on Instagram, and we're going to just be posting everybody's videos on there as we get them. So if a network executive or anybody says, well, we need, you know, we don't know where to find the editors and the actors, check out this page because they're all right here, you know?
We're here. We're here.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's just a bigger call to action for people to really just be proud about what you do. Give us the video, pitch us, you know, and on here, and then we can make those bridges with, you know, the networks or whatnot, so that people know that they're also here. We have a platform where we could put people and highlight them. So like, why don't we do that? We also need to just support each other at the end of the day.
I agree.
You know,
I can see you wearing the shirt. Do you see me? I love it.
Yes, we're actually coming out with merchandise. That's another thing. We're coming out with shirts really soon.
And we also do cups.
Yes. And we do have coming up in September for Hispanic Heritage Month. We're in rehearsals right now. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Linda Nieves Powell. She wrote this Yo Soy Latina about 4 years ago. We are doing a revamped version. We're doing a live produced
wow.
A 20-year celebration, and it's discussing all of the topics that Latinas and Afro-Latinas right now are having. And it's so funny because we talk about Latino time and CP time, and actually one of the girls in the play says, "I'm never late," and I was like, and my character's like, "Are you sure about that?" But yeah, I'm in it. I'm also one of the directors. It's also a co-production with a Dominican production company. They're called Anacawana Productions in Madrid, Spain. So we're now making an international connection as well. So
that's
excited about that. That's coming in September. So look out for that. Like the second week of September, we'll be dropping the video and doing a lot of promo around that. So
yes, Maricel is our best promoter. She meets anyone in the street and she's like, "Do you know about BoricuaTalks? Grab your phone."
Let me tell you something about Linda. She did the Brown Girls Chronicles. We did perform at the New Rican Sports Cafe like 12 years ago. I was an actress too. So what's that? I'm going to LA.
That's amazing. Yeah, Linda's incredible. She's just, you know,
she's working on another book as well. I've heard.
Yeah, I think she's writing a book, and I think she's writing like a screenplay. You know, she's really busy writing. Yeah, but she was able to revamp the conversation and modernize it more for what's happening right now. And so we'll be doing a virtual online production of it. So we're super excited about it.
Wow, I'm excited. Oh yes.
I am too. There's so much about you that I want to talk about, and we're like coming to the end of the show, and I don't know where to end this because, you know.
I have another suggestion because I'm a reader, I'm a writer, and we need this. We need this magazine's back on. Create your own magazine and put it in. You see Latinas on the cover. That's another project to jump on.
Yeah, I know. There's a lot. I mean, we are powerful women, right? Latina women who have a lot to offer. We have talent, we have intelligence. And I'm an entrepreneur. Maricel is an entrepreneur. I'm the first Latina president of a national organization for the Chicago chapter here in Chicago. I mean, we're shakers and movers. Yes.
Girl, we need to connect even outside of this. Yeah.
Absolutely. We're going to connect because actually Caesar said, you got to stay connected to her, girl. Because she is somebody you want. He even called me this morning before we got on the call.
Great. Yeah. Okay, great. Well, let's make sure that we do that.
Yeah. Somebody said, I'm going to leave it to you to close.
Well, I'm so excited. It's like Elizabeth said, we could keep going on and on and on. There's so much I want to pick out of your brain. You look beautiful. You are amazing. And you have inspired me today. This show, BoricuaTalks, is for you, for you, for you, for you. Take a piece of everything and prosper.
Yes,
absolutely. Thank you so much for being on our show. And best of luck on all of this. And we will definitely follow you on Instagram, Facebook, and we'll make sure to include that in our video before we release it. So have a great day, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.